Hello friends and welcome to my channel. My name is EJ Marino and this is About Last Night, the show where I talk about the movie I saw last night. Though this week we're jumping into a documentary. Yes, I'm talking about the new LGBT horror documentary, Scream Queen, My Nightmare on Elm Street. Now, going into this documentary about the second Nightmare on Elm Street, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge, I had no idea what to expect. I had known this was going to be coming out. I had known it was focused on the gay actor who's at the center of it, Mark Patton, but I never knew what they were going to get into. If they were going to talk about production, if they were going to talk about the legacy, queer horror, I had no idea. So when I sat down to watch this on Amazon, I was kind of nervous. I just didn't really, like I said, know what to expect. But by the end of this documentary, I am so happy I watched it. It made me feel so many emotions. There was times I genuinely laughed out loud. I actually cried during it. And overall, I learned and felt a lot. This story in this documentary is so important. It needs to be told. It's crazy that we're in 2020 and we're still dealing with some of the ideas that they talk about. Some of the problems that are presented here are still in Hollywood now. It's not just an 80s problem. It's still happening. So I thought this was very important, very timely, and just overall a very good documentary with a lot to say. At the center of the documentary is Mark Patton. He was the star of Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. He was like the first male Scream Queen. I loved him in this film. I loved him just growing up. I always was attracted to this film. As I got older, I understood the queer text of this film. It's not even subtext. It is there screaming at you. So I've always connected to this movie, but I never really saw Mark Patton in anything else. I would always be like, where is this guy at? He was so adorable in this movie. He was so cute. He could have been in so many 80s horror movies. But this documentary kind of shows us what happened to him, how he decided to remove himself from Hollywood, even though he was having issues. I think there was a moment where he really took the power into himself and said, I'm leaving. You know, we see him living in Mexico now, had built his own life away from Hollywood, away from horror movies, and it was so cool to see where he was at, how he got there, why he got there. This was not just an actor who didn't want to be there or he was addicted to drugs. This was an 80s actor in the middle of the AIDS crisis, being closeted, dealing with all of that. I can understand why he went away and wanted to disappear from the spotlight, but now I'm glad he kind of learns throughout this documentary that he has a voice. He has something to say, and it's so important. I loved what he did for LGBT activism, what he did for queer horror, what he does for HIV/AIDS awareness. There's a lot he's doing now as an activist. I would love to see him as an actor, but that doesn't seem to be where he wants to be in life. Patton just wants to be an activist, talk about his journey from what he went through there to where he's at now, and I think that's so important. But this isn't just about Patton. This is about the film. This is about what it did to horror, what it did to this franchise, and what it's done to so many queer kids like myself. I just cannot wait for this documentary to get to more places so people can see the story. But also, if you've never seen Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, watch it as soon as you can. It is so campy and so gay. There is something I really liked about this documentary, and it was all the different ways we talked about Mark's life in different eras as well. We had his early childhood to his first times getting to the big bright lights of Hollywood. I mean, this kid worked with Cher, Karen Black. Oh my goodness, he worked with Cher, done alone. At the beginning of the documentary, he was just like, well, the best advice Cher ever gave me. And I'm like, this homo, oh my god, he got Cher, advice from Cher at a meet and greet. No, I was wrong. He was close, worked with her. So we get to see his history there. And then we saw him get his big Hollywood break in Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2 and what that did, and his agency forcing him to be in the closet, saying you're only going to be a character actor because you can never play straight, and then him choosing to leave Hollywood, him getting diagnosed with HIV and then AIDS. Wow, just his lover, this crazy story about his lover and what happened there, and There was just a lot in here that we focused on so many different things, but something that really stood out to me is how we got a behind-the-scenes look at what the convention circuit is like. Mark Patton has been doing a lot of like horror movie conventions since he did the documentary Never Sleep Again, a like documentary that focused on all of Nightmare on Elm Street. He, after that, decided, you know what? I'm done hiding. I want to talk about it. I want to have fun with the fans of this movie, with the young gay kids in Expired, the horror fans who were like, look, I may not be gay, but I had a good time with this film. So we got to see him go to conventions, a little bit behind the scenes, meeting up with the cast from the movie for the first time for some of them in decades. It was so interesting. I really loved seeing the horror convention stuff, seeing his history and everything like that, but I also liked seeing them talk about the actual film itself. That was something I thought wasn't going to be there. I thought they were just going to kind of brief over it just to talk about Patton's life, but oh my goodness, they dive into so much from this movie. Robert Englund is in this documentary and is so candid, so honest, basically being like, we all were playing it gay. Like, if you weren't aware of how, like, homoerotic this was, that's on you. Either you're dumb or you just don't notice it. And it's kind of crazy to see him be so honest and admit it, and how he feels so bad for Mark Patton. It seemed to be they're getting along now with their friends. I don't think they ever had issues. Mark Patton had issues with Dave the writer. Oh my goodness, that dramatic ending. But overall, it seems like he has a family here with this franchise, with this with the cast and everything like that. So that was just really cute to see. Overall, I just really loved what this did, what this showed, and all the different aspects. Documentaries are really hard to make. You have all that footage at the end of the documentary and you're like, how do I put this? But I would say they edited it so sleekly, so nicely. Everything flowed together so well. I think there was comedic moments in the edit as well. They would say a joke and then cut to something dramatic. I just genuinely really enjoyed all of this. I cannot believe I sat down for a documentary being like, this is going to be like cute and fun and a little horror documentary. And by the end, I'm like, oh my god, I've learned so much. I, as a gay man, need to do more. Oh my god, what did this movie do to me? If you have not seen or heard of the documentary Scream Queen, My Nightmare on Elm Street, go out of your way to find this. This really touched me. This is perfect for gay kids, horror fans, weirdos, anyone just looking for a good story about Hollywood and what it's done to queer people and what it still continues to do. How we've progressed a little bit, but not enough. It's just really interesting to see. I just think this was something just really surprised me and really touched my heart in a way I never thought it would. I highly recommend this to anyone. I cannot wait for them to just push this on a bigger platform, because this needs to be seen by everyone. Shudder should be doing this. It should be streaming on Netflix. I don't care who gets it, but somebody needs to, because this needs to be shown. This could save so many young gay kids' lives by showing, look, this is what happens, but there is a way it could get better. Though Mark's life did not work out the way he originally planned, he seems to be happy with how his life turned out, where he's at now, and that's all that is really important. So please, go out of your way to see this. Go say nice things to Mark Patton if you see him at any horror movie conventions. Oh my goodness, if he's ever at one in my local area, I am going to like hug him and say thank you so much. Also, if I ever see Robert Englund, I'm going to go, thank you for being so sassy and so honest. What a good time. Thank you guys so much for tuning into my review of the documentary Scream Queen. It was so fun to talk about this. It was so good to watch. I cannot wait to talk about this with you guys more. Make sure you guys comment down below. Subscribe to my channel because I make videos like this every single week. And give me a thumbs up because YouTube takes those way too seriously. Alright guys, let's talk about Scream Queen, My Nightmare on Elm Street down below.